Lisa Carter woke up early that morning like she always did. The twin suns of New Haven were just starting to peek over the horizon. She looked at the small picture on her nightstand. Her kids smiled back at her from the frame. Jake was 8 years old with messy brown hair and missing front teeth. Emma was 6 with pigtails and bright blue eyes like Lisa's. "Mom!" Jake shouted from the kitchen. "Emma spilled her cereal again." Lisa smiled and got out of bed. Some things never changed. She walked into the kitchen where Emma was crying and milk was dripping onto the floor. "It's okay, sweetheart," Lisa said. She grabbed a towel and cleaned up the mess. Accidents happen. New Haven was a peaceful place. The colony had been there for 15 years. 200 families lived in simple houses spread across green fields. The days were quiet. People worked in the farms or the small shops in town. Children played in the streets without worry. Lisa worked at the colonial office. She managed supplies and kept records. It was a boring job, but it paid the bills. Before coming to New Haven, she had been in the Marines. She left after her husband died in an accident. She wanted a safer life for her children. "You're making lunch today, right, Mom?" Emma asked. "Of course I am," Lisa said. "Your favorite, peanut butter and jelly." The kids finished breakfast and went to play in the backyard. Lisa watched them through the window while she cleaned dishes. Jake was teaching Emma how to climb the old oak tree. Lisa felt thankful for their simple life. Around noon, Lisa took the lunches to the school. It was a small building with only 3 classrooms. All the colony kids studied there. As she walked, she noticed dark shapes in the sky. Strange ships were hovering above the colony. They were black and sleek, nothing like the cargo ships that usually visited. Other parents started pointing at the sky. Dr. Paul Anderson, the colony doctor, walked over to Lisa. "Have you ever seen ships like those before?" he asked. "No," Lisa said. Her military training made her nervous. These ships looked like warships. Suddenly, one ship dropped lower. It fired some kind of purple energy weapon at the power station. The lights went out across the colony. Emergency sirens started wailing. "Get the children inside," Lisa shouted. Other parents were already running to the school. Lisa dropped the lunch bags and sprinted to the building. She burst through the door. The teachers were trying to calm scared children. She saw Jake and Emma huddled in a corner. "Kids, we need to go home," she said. "Something's happening." Before they could move, the school wall exploded. Dust and debris flew everywhere. Strange creatures came through the hole. They were tall, covered in green scales with yellow eyes. They wore black armor and carried weapons. Lisa grabbed her children and pushed them behind her. "Stay back!" she yelled at the creatures. One of the creatures pointed a weapon at her. It didn't fire bullets or lasers. Instead, a bright light flashed. Lisa felt dizzy immediately. The room spun around her. She tried to fight it, but her body felt heavy. "Mom!" Jake screamed. Lisa fell to her knees. The creatures, she later learned they were called Zorvan, stepped past her. She tried to reach for her children, but her arms wouldn't work right. The stun weapon was too strong. "Take children." "No," Lisa mumbled. Her words came out slurred. The last thing she saw was the Zorvan creatures grabbing Jake and Emma. They carried the screaming children outside. Other kids were being taken too. Some parents tried to fight, but the stun weapons knocked them down easily. Lisa's vision went black. When she woke up, it was dark outside. Her head pounded terribly. She looked around the destroyed classroom. Other parents were starting to wake up too. Some were crying softly. "Lisa," Dr. Anderson helped her sit up. "Take it easy. Those weapons knocked you out for hours." "My children," Lisa said. "Where are my children?" The doctor looked sad. "They're gone. All the children are gone." Lisa stumbled to her feet. Her legs were shaky, but anger gave her strength. She ran outside. The colony was in ruins. Buildings were damaged. The black ships were gone from the sky. Other parents gathered in the town square. Some sat on the ground looking defeated. Others stood in small groups, talking quietly. "What were those things?" Lisa asked. "Zorvan raiders," said Beth Miller. a woman who ran the colony's store. I've heard about them. They take children from outer colonies and sell them as slaves. Slaves? Lisa's blood went cold. It happens out here, Beth said sadly. The Galactic Council doesn't protect colonies this far out. The Zorvan know this. Lisa felt sick. Her children taken as slaves? We have to get them back. Mayor Thompson, an older man with gray hair, shook his head. There's nothing we can do. They're probably already off-planet. The Zorvan have faster ships than us. The council won't help us, another parent said. They have rules about not interfering with other species. Lisa looked at all the defeated faces. These people had accepted their loss already. They were giving up on their children. But Lisa couldn't do that. She wouldn't do that. I'm not giving up, she said. Her voice was quiet but firm. Those are my children. I'm going to find them. Dr. Anderson put his hand on her shoulder. Lisa, I understand how you feel, but what can one person do against alien raiders? Lisa pulled away from him. Something in her eyes made the doctor step back. It was the same look she had when she was a Marine. Cold, determined, dangerous. I'll do whatever it takes, she said. That night, Lisa packed a bag. She took her old Marine knife, some clothes, and the picture of her children. She also took the emergency credits she had saved. At dawn, she left New Haven without telling anyone goodbye. She didn't know it yet, but the galaxy was about to learn a terrible lesson. They had taken something from a human mother. They had invited the wrath of Earth's most dangerous predator. The hunt had begun. Lisa stood at the spaceport in Frontier Station, a major trading hub 3 systems away from New Haven. She had spent the last 2 days learning everything she could about the Zorvan. They were known for raiding outer colonies and taking children to sell in the black market. Most species considered it an unfortunate but common practice in the wild frontier of space. The anger inside Lisa burned hotter with every new piece of information. How could the rest of the galaxy just accept this? She approached the registration desk where a bored-looking alien sat. The creature had 4 arms and gray skin. I need passage to the Minos sector, Lisa said, placing her credits on the counter. The alien clerk looked at her. That's Zorvan space. No civilian ships go there. Then I need a different kind of ship, Lisa replied. Something in her tone made the clerk nervous. After a moment, he slid her a piece of paper with coordinates written on it. Docking Bay 94. Ask for Captain Walsh. Tell him Kerr sent you. Lisa found the ship easily. It was old and beaten up, with patches of different colored metal welded onto its hull. Several crew members were loading supplies. A man with a gray beard stepped out to meet her. I'm Captain Ryan Walsh. What can I do for you? I need to hire your ship, Lisa said directly, to track down Zorvan raiders. Walsh raised an eyebrow. You after cargo? Because if you're thinking about revenge... My children, Lisa interrupted. They took my children. I'm getting them back, the war. Captain studied her face for a long moment. Something in her eyes made him nod slowly. I've got 3 kids myself, he said quietly. We don't usually run missions like this, but I'll get you to the border. After that, you're on your own. The next few days were spent traveling through hyperspace. Walsh's ship, the Ranger, was heading to Port Salem, a lawless station where all kinds of deals were made. Lisa spent her time learning the ship's weapons systems and studying star maps of Zorvan territory. You know anything about weapons? Asked Beth Miller, the ship's gunner. Lisa hadn't expected to see her. Beth had been on New Haven too and had lost her niece to the raiders. Some, Lisa admitted. I was a Marine before I had kids. Beth nodded with approval. Good. Because those stun weapons the Zorvan use won't work if you're prepared. We've got some shielding gear that might help. When they reached Port Salem, Lisa could see it was unlike any place she'd been before. Ships of every design floated around the massive station. The docking bays were crowded with beings of different species, many carrying weapons openly. This is where you'll find information, Walsh told her, and where you'll need to get better equipment. The Zorvan scouts patrol the outer zones. You'll need more than determination to get through. Lisa walked through the station's market. Vendors sold everything from weapons to information. She stopped at a stall run by a tall creature with multiple eyes. "I need to track Zorvan slave routes," she said bluntly. The vendor's eyes all blinked, at different times. "Such information is expensive and dangerous." Lisa placed her remaining credits on the counter. It was almost everything she had. "Name your price." After several more stalls and trades, Lisa learned that the Zorvan used the Keth Nebula as a staging area. Ships carrying stolen children would stop there before heading to the main slave markets in the Mercon system. She also bought better weapons. A plasma pistol that could punch through Zorvan armor, shielding that would protect against stun weapons, and most importantly, navigation data for the routes through the nebula. As she was leaving the weapons shop, a figure stepped out of the shadows. It was Marcus Green, a human information broker. Lisa recognized his type immediately. Former military, now selling his skills to the highest bidder. "I hear you're hunting Zorvan," he said quietly. "Looking for kids from New Haven?" Lisa tensed, her hand moving toward her new weapon. "Relax," Marcus said. "I'm not stopping you. Actually, I want to help. I know where they stopped last." "Why would you help me?" "Because someone needs to show these aliens that humans aren't easy prey. And because I heard about what happened to New Haven. That could have been any colony." Marcus gave her coordinates for a Zorvan scout outpost near the Keth Nebula. "They use it as a refueling stop. If your kids are still in transit, their ships would have passed through there." Lisa thanked him and returned to the Ranger. Walsh had agreed to take her as far as the nebula's edge, but no further. "That's where I draw the line," he said. "From there, you're in Zorvan territory. Even with our weapons, we can't fight their patrols." "I understand," Lisa said. "Get me there. I'll handle the rest." The journey to the Keth Nebula took 3 days. During that time, Lisa learned more about Zorvan society. They viewed other species as resources to exploit. Slavery was an old tradition for them. They had been raiding colonies for centuries, and the Galactic Council did nothing because the Zorvan had powerful allies. On the final day of travel, they received a distress signal. A small ship was being attacked by Zorvan scouts. Walsh looked at Lisa. "We could run," he said, "or we could fight. Your call." Lisa answered by charging the ship's weapons. "We fight." The Ranger's engines roared as it dropped out of hyperspace near the battle. 3 Zorvan scout ships were attacking a civilian cargo vessel. The scouts were sleek green ships with glowing energy weapons. "Targeting systems locked," Beth announced from the weapons station. "Fire!" Lisa commanded. The first volley caught the Zorvan by surprise. The Ranger's plasma cannons hit one scout ship, destroying its engines. The other 2 scouts turned to face this new threat. Lisa was at the navigation station. Her marine training kicked in as she called out maneuvers while studying their attack patterns. The scouts tried to use their stun weapons, but the Rangers' shields held. "Their weakness is the rear engines," Lisa observed. "If we can get behind them." Walsh executed a tight turn that put them behind the second scout. Lisa fired the rear, guns herself punching holes in the enemy's hull. The scout exploded in a flash of green fire. The last scout tried to run. Lisa grabbed the targeting controls from Beth. Her years of weapons training guided her aim. The plasma shot hit perfectly, disabling the scout's hyperdrive. "Should we finish it?" Walsh asked. "No," Lisa said. "Board it. I need information." Minutes later, Lisa stood in the captured scout ship's control room. The 2 Zorvan crew members cowered before her. She had Beth translate. "Where are the children from New Haven?" Lisa demanded. The Zorvan soldiers were arrogant at first. They spoke of their right to take prizes from weak species. But when Lisa put her plasma pistol against the captain's head, the defiance broke. "The children were moved through our station," the captain admitted. "They were sent to the Mortac Prime for processing. The buyers prefer fresh stock." "How long ago?" 8 days. They auction in cycles. The next is in 17 days from now." Lisa's mind calculated quickly. If she pushed hard, she could reach Mortac Prime before the auction. She looked at the captured Zorvan. "Tell your people something," she said. Tell them that the humans you raided sent a message. Tell them we're coming for our children, and we'll go through anyone who stands in our way." She left the Zorvan alive to carry her message. As they returned to the Ranger, Walsh was quiet. "That was some shooting," he finally said. "You've done this before." "I told you," Lisa replied. "I was a Marine, before I had kids." "And now?" Lisa looked at the stars ahead of them. Somewhere out there, her children waited. The pain of their loss had transformed into something cold and sharp inside her. "Now I'm something worse," she said. "I'm their mother." Word of the attack spread through the information networks. Tales of a human who had fought Zorvan scouts and lived. Some species called her crazy. Others called her dangerous. But those who knew humans whispered different stories. Stories of what a human parent could become when their young were threatened. Lisa Carter had crossed a line that the galaxy thought was uncrossable. She had challenged the established order, and the hunt was just beginning. News of Lisa's attack on the Zorvan scouts spread quickly through the galaxy. In the docking bay of Port Salem, other ships' crews whispered stories about the human who had challenged the slavers. Most dismissed these tales as impossible. Humans were new to space, and everyone knew the Zorvan had been raiding for centuries without real opposition. Lisa ignored the stares as she prepared for the next part of her journey. The captured Zorvan ship provided useful technology, including navigation, codes that would help her avoid Zorvan patrols. But time was her enemy. The auction on Mortak Prime would happen in just 15 days. A tall figure in a human military uniform approached her in the marketplace. The woman wore the insignia of a commander. "I'm Commander Alex Chen, Human Space Navy," she said quietly. "We need to talk." Lisa tensed, ready for an official order to stop her unauthorized actions. Instead, the commander pulled her aside into a quiet corner. "Officially, I'm not here," Chen said. "Officially, the Navy can't support civilian vigilante actions in foreign space, but unofficially," she handed Lisa a small data chip. "These are override codes for human emergency beacons. If you get in real trouble, activate one. Someone might hear it." "Why help me?" Lisa asked suspiciously. "Because I have a nephew on one of our colonies," Chen admitted. "And because what you did to those Zorvan scouts has our military thinking. Maybe we've been too soft. Maybe it's time someone showed the galaxy what humans do when our children are taken." Lisa took the chip and nodded her thanks. Her next stop was finding someone who understood Zorvan society better. Captain Walsh had told her about a reformed Zorvan who worked as a mechanic in the lower levels of the station. The lower levels were darker and smelled of engine fuel and alien sweat. Lisa found the mechanic in a cramped workshop. Kretak was smaller than the raiders she'd seen, with lighter green scales and scars across his chest. "You the human hunting Zorvan?" he asked in broken English. "I need information," Lisa said directly, "about how your people operate, their weaknesses." Kretak put down his tools. "I left the Zorvan Empire 10 years ago. They call me traitor now." He studied Lisa's face. "Why you think I help you?" "Because you left," Lisa said. "Maybe part of you knows what they do is wrong." After a long pause, Kretak nodded. "Sit. I tell you what you need to know." He explained that the Zorvan slave trade was complex. Children were taken because they adapted easier to training and could be molded into whatever role buyers wanted. The auctions on Mortak Prime served buyers from dozens of species. Most important, Kretak said, children have special process before sale, like preparation. Teaching them to be quiet, obedient, takes several weeks. "What happens if they're interrupted?" Lisa asked. "Process stops, facility goes to lockdown, but facility have thousands of children inside. Very hard to break in." Lisa learned that the facility had multiple defense layers, energy shields, security forces, and automated weapon systems. But Kretak also shared a critical weakness. The facility drew massive power from geothermal sources. If someone could disrupt that power, their conversation was interrupted by Beth Miller rushing in. "Lisa, there's trouble. Some diplomat named Torres is looking for you. Says she's from Earth." Ambassador Helen Torres found Lisa in the station's common area. She was a sharp-dressed woman with an official badge and disapproving expression. Ms. Carter, I'm ordering you to cease your activities immediately, Torres said firmly. You're damaging Earth's relationships with other species. The Zorvan have filed formal complaints about your attacks. They filed complaints? Lisa's voice was dangerously quiet. About me defending my children? The Galactic Council operates on principles of non-interference. Each species handles its internal affairs without outside intervention. So if my children are sold as slaves, that's their internal affair? Torres hesitated. I understand your pain, but no, you don't. Lisa cut her off. Has anyone ever taken your children? Did you ever watch them being dragged away while no one helped? The ambassador looked uncomfortable. There are proper channels, diplomatic protests, trade sanctions. Which will take how long? Months? Years? My children don't have that time. Ms. Carter, I'm warning you. If you continue this course, Earth will not protect you. The Navy cannot risk war with the Zorvan Empire. After Torres left, Lisa found herself sitting with Marcus, Green, and several other humans who had gathered at a nearby table. Don't let her scare you, Marcus said. The Navy isn't as helpless as she makes it sound. The brass is watching your situation very carefully. Another human at the table spoke up. Steve Morrison, a man with the bearing of elite special forces. I retired from Earth Special Operations last year, he said. Been hearing about what you're doing? Maybe you could use some help, unofficial help. Why would you risk that? Lisa asked. Steve's face darkened. Because I've seen what happens in the frontier worlds. Species taking advantage of others, and someone needs to show them humans aren't easy prey. The group grew as more humans joined the conversation. Dr. Rachel Kim, a xenobiologist who offered to help identify Zorvan weaknesses. Kate Bennett, another survivor from New Haven who refused to let Lisa go alone. By the next morning, Lisa had assembled a small team. They gathered in a rented warehouse to plan their assault on Mortak Prime. Using data from Kretak and stolen Zorvan navigation charts, they mapped out their approach. The facility is here. Rachel pointed to a holographic map. Underground complex beneath a volcanic mountain. The power plant is here at the base. If we hit the power plant first, Steve analyzed, their shields drop, but they'll have backup generators. Not if we coordinate right, Kate suggested. Hit multiple points at once. Create confusion. Lisa studied the maps quietly. Then she made a decision that surprised everyone. I need to tell the children's parents, she said. They deserve to know what I'm doing. Using station communications, Lisa contacted New Haven. The colonists gathered around the transmission screen. She saw their tired, defeated faces. Dr. Anderson was there, as was Mayor Thompson. I've found where our children are being held, Lisa began. I'm going to get them back. The colonists' reactions were mixed. Some showed hope, others fear. Ms. Carter, Mayor Thompson said hesitantly, we appreciate your efforts, but perhaps we should trust the diplomatic process. The diplomatic process allows our children to be sold as slaves, Lisa interrupted. Every species out here knows about it. They all accept it as normal. Well, I don't accept it. She ended the transmission abruptly, anger burning inside her. The galaxy viewed humans as just another species to exploit. They had no idea what they had awakened. That night, Lisa received an encrypted message from Commander Chen. Third Fleet conducting exercises near Zorvan border in 14 days. Pure coincidence. Someone should warn them about any disturbances in the area. Lisa smiled grimly. The human military might not officially support her actions, but they were positioning themselves to respond if needed. The final preparations took 3 days. Lisa's team studied Zorvan military tactics, practiced with new weapons, and prepared their stolen scout ship for combat. On the morning of departure, a last piece of news arrived that changed everything. A communication intercept revealed that the next auction would be special. The Zorvan had advertised exotic human children as premium merchandise. Bidding would start higher. The buyers had already arrived. They're using our kids to make more money, Kate said, her voice shaking with rage. But Lisa felt only cold determination. The galaxy thought humans were just new prey. They had no concept of what a human parent becomes when her children are threatened. As their ship prepared for departure, station security tried to stop them. Ambassador Torres had filed injunctions to prevent their departure. But mysterious, technical difficulties with the station's security systems allowed them to leave. Some said humans in the station's control room had caused the glitches. As they jumped to hyperspace, Lisa looked at her team. Earth's laws didn't reach here. Galactic laws allowed slavery, but there was an older law, the law of a mother protecting her young. The Zorvan had taken human children without understanding the consequences. They were about to learn that some species should not be provoked. They were about to meet humanity's apex predator. A mother denied her cubs. The galaxy talked about rules and protocols. But Lisa had crossed beyond all of that. She had become something primal and deadly. And somewhere ahead, her children waited. The hunt entered its final phase. Lisa ran deeper into the Mortak facility. The lower levels were a maze of tunnels carved directly into volcanic rock. Emergency lights flashed red, creating a hellish atmosphere. She could hear children crying in the distance, their voices echoing through empty corridors. Behind her, the sounds of battle grew distant. Outside, the human civilian fleet fought against surprised Zorvan defenders. No one had expected ordinary humans to bring cargo ships into combat. Lisa found a massive door, marked with warning symbols. Through the small window, she saw rows of cages packed with children of many species. Guards were forcing them to lie down while they prepared to execute evacuation protocols that meant destroying evidence. Without thinking, Lisa charged. Her plasma pistol fired repeatedly as she burst through the door. The 4 guards turned, surprised by the attack. Her marine training took over. She moved between cover points, firing with deadly accuracy. The guards fell one by one. "It's okay," she called out to the terrified children. "I'm here to help." She began opening cages as fast as her stolen access card allowed. A Zorvan boy with golden scales trembled as he stepped out. "You help us?" he asked in broken English. "Even though we not human?" "Every child deserves freedom," Lisa replied firmly. Suddenly, heavy footsteps approached. Lisa spun to face the doorway. A massive figure filled the entrance. Lord Vexnor himself had come to stop the breakout. The supreme commander of Zorvan slave operations stood 3 meters tall. His scales were darker than usual Zorvan. His eyes glowed red with enhancement implants. "A single human," he sneered. "Thinking you can stop our operation? Centuries of profitable business?" "Your operation hurts children," Lisa stated coldly. "That's all I need to know." Lord Vexnor drew an enormous energy blade. "Every other species understands our ways. Humans will learn their place." The fight began with explosive violence. Vexnor moved fast despite his size. His blade cut through air where Lisa had been a moment before. She rolled behind machinery, her smaller size an advantage in the cramped space. Children screamed and pressed against the back walls of their cages. Some covered their eyes. Others watched in terror as human and Zorvan clashed. Lisa used hit-and-run tactics. She fired her pistol between cover points, aiming for joint gaps in his armor. Vexnor's strength was terrifying. One swing of his blade smashed through metal walls, but Lisa's rage made her fearless. "You traumatized these children," she shouted, dodging another swing. "Sold them like products." "They are products," Vexnor roared back. "In the galaxy, the strong take what they need." Lisa's plasma shot hit his shoulder plate, making him stagger. She pressed the advantage, rolling forward to get beneath his reach. Her knife found the soft spot Dr. Kim had identified. Green blood sprayed as she stabbed between his neck scales. Vexnor howled and grabbed her. His massive hand could have crushed her chest. But Lisa was prepared. She activated the magnetic grenade she'd kept hidden. It attached to his armor plate. "Here's what humans do to slavers," she whispered before the explosion threw them both backward. The blast shattered windows and damaged life support systems. Vexnor slammed against a wall, his armor cracked and smoking. Lisa rolled to her feet. "Battered but alive. Guards coming," called a small voice. The Zorvan child was watching through the window. "They heard fighting." Lisa made a choice. She grabbed her comm device. Steve, Kate, anyone. I'm in the lower levels. Children here need evacuation now. Cavalry's coming, boss. Steve's voice crackled back. The human fleet just did something amazing. They fired chaff and fireworks at the same time. The Zorvan ships think they're under massive missile attack and are scattered everywhere. Outside, the battle had turned. Human civilian. Ships might lack military weapons, but they had surprises. Mining lasers adapted for cutting ship hulls, towing cables to tangle enemy engines, even emergency flares fired like weapons to blind sensors. More importantly, word of the attack had spread. Ships from other species arrived not to fight, but to observe. Some had come to buy children at the auction. Instead, they witnessed humans fighting slavers with desperate courage. Lisa could hear more Zorvan approaching. She hauled the wounded Vexner to his feet, using him as a living shield. Call off your guards, she demanded, pressing her pistol to his damaged armor. Or I'll finish what the grenade started. Never, he gasped. Our empire, she pressed, harder. Your empire enslaves children. That ends today. Before Vexnor could respond, the facility shook violently. Outside, someone had modified a mining vessel to ram the main entrance. The ship's armored prow smashed through defensive walls, creating a direct path for evacuation. Kate led a rescue team through the new entrance. She found Lisa surrounded by freed children of various species. The wounded Zorvan commander was restrained with emergency cuffs. Mom! Jake ran through the group of rescuers, followed closely by Emma. They crashed into Lisa, nearly knocking her over with hugs. You came for us, Jake said, crying. You really came. I'll always come for you, Lisa promised, holding them tight. The evacuation proceeded smoothly once organized. Human ships worked together like a well-trained fleet. Children of all species were carried carefully to transport ships. Some found their families waiting. Others would be cared for until they could be reunited with their own people. Dr. Rachel. Kim coordinated medical treatment. Kate Bennett helped calm frightened children. Steve Morrison and other volunteers secured the facility to prevent any last-minute threats. As children were loaded onto evacuation ships, Ambassador Torres arrived with an official peace delegation. She was pale and shocked at the sight of hundreds of freed children. This isn't what I expected, she admitted to Lisa. I thought you'd cause an incident. Instead, I've done what we should have done from the beginning, Lisa finished. Protected children. Behind them, Zorvan ships that hadn't fled were surrendering. Their morale had broken, seeing their supreme commander captured by one human mother. The Galactic Council would later hold emergency meetings about the incident. Some species demanded action against human aggression. Others, seeing the rescued children's testimony, began questioning their own practices. The slave trade, it seemed, was not as universally accepted as everyone thought. In the aftermath, changes rippled through the galaxy. Several species joined humans in banning child trafficking. The Council revised policies about non-interference when children's welfare was at stake. Some accused humans of forcing change through violence. But in quiet moments, on planets where children once feared the sky, stories were told. Stories of the day a human mother went to war for her cubs, of civilian ships facing warships to save the innocent, of how humans showed the galaxy that some lines should never be crossed. Months later, back on New Haven, Lisa watched Jake and Emma play in their rebuilt backyard. The colony had been fortified with human Navy help. Children no longer lived in fear of raiders. Dr. Anderson visited often, bringing news of colony expansion. Kate Bennett had moved back, helping establish a school. Many families returned, feeling safer with Earth's official protection now extended to outer colonies. Lisa kept the marine knife that had struck down Vexnor, not as a weapon, but as a reminder. The galaxy had learned that humans were not prey. That behind human kindness lay fierce protection for their young. Sometimes in her sleep, Lisa dreamed of those Zorvan cells. But she no longer woke in fear. She woke knowing she had made a difference. The children of New Haven played freely again, and across the galaxy, other children slept more safely. The Zorvan had intended to take human children without consequence. Instead, they had invited Earth's most relentless predator to their door. The hunt had ended, but the message remained clear for all species to understand: touch human children, and face humanity's wrath. Lisa's team flew through hyperspace toward Mortak Prime. Their stolen Zorvan scout ship allowed them to use secret routes that avoided the main patrols. Inside the small vessel, 5 humans prepared for their mission. Each had their reasons for joining the fight. Steve Morrison checked their weapons inventory. The former special ops soldier moved with practiced efficiency. "We've got enough plasma charges for the power plant," he reported, "and thermal detonators for the backup generators. Doctor." Rachel Kim studied Zorvan anatomy charts. "Their weak points are here and here," she pointed out, "behind the neck plates and the soft spots between scales. Aim for these in hand-to-hand combat." Kate Bennett sat with Lisa, both women looking at pictures of their children. Kate had lost her 2 boys in the New Haven raid. "My husband wanted to give up," Kate admitted. "He said we had to accept it. That's why I left him and came with you." "We won't give up," Lisa said firmly. "Not until every child is safe." The journey took 5 days. During this time, they practiced their battle plans repeatedly. The assault had to be perfect. Hit the power plant, disable the shields, rescue the children before anyone could harm them. On the 3rd day, they received another encrypted message from Commander Chen. "Third Fleet movements detected by Zorvan. They're concerned. Multiple patrol ships being redirected to Mortak Prime defensive positions. Good luck." Lisa smiled coldly. The human military's exercises were putting pressure on the Zorvan, drawing some of their forces away from the slave facility. 2 days before reaching Mortak Prime, they intercepted a commercial transmission. The Zorvan had released an advertisement for their upcoming auction. Lisa's blood boiled as she watched the video. The announcer spoke excitedly about exotic human children. The video showed children in cages, including glimpses of Jake and Emma. Her son looked tired and scared. Emma had been crying, but they were alive. "New species in slave market." The announcer's voice was translated by their computer. "Human children adapt quickly, perfect for service positions or pleasure trade. Bidding starts high. Many wealthy buyers confirmed." Steve had to restrain Lisa from punching the screen. Rage transformed her face, making her look more dangerous than any weapon. Later that day, they found 3 Zorvan cargo ships heading to Mortak Prime. Lisa made a decision that would have shocked her old colonial administrator self. "We hit them," she ordered. "Find out what they're carrying." The attack was swift and brutal. The cargo ships had minimal weapons. Lisa's team disabled one ship's engines and forced it to stop. When they boarded, they found the cargo hold full of Zorvan prisoners, criminals being transported to prison facilities. "Free us," the prisoners begged in broken English. "We help you fight, tell you secrets." Lisa considered carefully. These prisoners hated the Zorvan establishment. They could provide useful information and create chaos during the assault. "You help us rescue human children and you go free," she offered. The Zorvan prisoners eagerly agreed. One of them, a female named Sekra, had worked at the Mortak facility before being arrested. "They have children in multiple sections," Sekra explained. "Your species is kept in special area, blue section. High security because human children try to escape often." "What's the guard rotation?" Steve asked, already thinking tactically. "Guards change every 6 hours. Weakest security is at dawn cycle, when night shift gets tired and morning shift not fully alert. They release the prisoners on a nearby station, keeping only Sekra as a guide." The reformed slave trader proved invaluable, providing detailed maps of the facility's internal structure. On their final approach to Mortak Prime, they used a clever tactic. They painted Zorvan identification codes on their ship and claimed to be slave transportation, bringing new stock for the auction. This allowed them to enter Zorvan space without immediate suspicion. The planet itself was harsh. Red volcanic mountains covered the surface. The slave facility was built into the largest mountain, its entrance visible only as a small opening in the rock face. Ships flew in and out regularly, bringing buyers and guards. The auction dome is at the top, Sekra pointed out. Processing levels are below. Children being prepared are kept deeper down. Lisa studied the mountain fortress with new eyes. Her marine training identified defensive positions, kill zones, and escape routes. But this was different from any military operation. These were children at stake, not soldiers. We go in tomorrow at dawn cycle, she decided. 2 teams. Steve leads the power plant assault. I take the child rescue team. That night they made final preparations. Each person checked their equipment multiple times. Lisa sat quietly, thinking about Jake and Emma. Were they scared? Did they remember her? As they approached the planet, they received one more transmission, not through official channels but through emergency beacons. It was from other humans in the sector. This is transport ship Phoenix. We heard about your mission. We can't fight, but we can evacuate children if you need transport out. Civilian ship Morning Star here. Our crew volunteers medical aid if needed. The messages kept coming. Humans were gathering at the edge of Zorvan space. Not an invasion fleet, but a rescue armada of volunteers. Ambassador Torres might have denied them official support, but individual humans refused to abandon their children. As dawn approached on Mortak Prime, Lisa and her team prepared to land. They wore Zorvan guard uniforms stolen from the cargo ship. Their weapons were hidden but ready. Remember the plan, Lisa said to her team. Power plant first. Signals via comms when shields are down. Then we move fast on the children. They landed at the facility without incident. The guards barely glanced at them as they moved through the entrance. Sekra led them deeper into the ley complex. The corridors were gray metal filled with the sound of ventilation systems and distant processing machines. They passed several checkpoints. Each time, their stolen codes worked. Deep in the facility, they could hear children crying. Lisa's hand tightened on her weapon. Every instinct screamed to run toward those voices, but she needed the shields down first. At a junction, they split. Steve and Kate led the power plant team down one corridor. Lisa, Rachel, and Sekra headed toward the blue section where human children were kept. The blue section was heavily guarded. 2 massive Zorvan warriors stood at the entrance. They wore better armor and carried advanced weapons. They looked at the newcomers with suspicion. "What business here?" one demanded. "New security rotation," Lisa replied in practiced Zorvan words. "Orders from command center." The guard hesitated. That moment of uncertainty was what Lisa needed. She moved faster than Zorvan eyes could follow. Her knife found the weak spot between neck plates. The guard collapsed silently. Rachel disabled the second guard with a precise shot from her stun weapon. They dragged the bodies into a nearby room and took the access cards. The massive door to the blue section opened with a soft hiss. Inside, Lisa found a sight that would haunt her dreams forever. Dozens of children sat in cells. Not just humans, but many species. All were terrified. Some were sick or injured. But among them, she saw familiar faces. "Jake! Emma!" Lisa called out. Her children looked up. For a moment, they didn't recognize her in Zorvan armor. Then Emma screamed, "Mommy!" The joy of reunion was interrupted by alarms. The facility's warning systems activated. Red lights flashed throughout the complex. "Power plant hit successful," came Steve's voice through her comm device. "Shields down, but we've got company coming fast." Outside the facility, the other Zorvan ships had detected the attack. They were moving to defensive positions, but as they did, something amazing happened. Human ships dropped out of hyperspace, not warships, but civilians. Freighters, transports, even pleasure yachts, all armed with whatever weapons they could mount. The humans had decided that if their government wouldn't help, they would help themselves. Inside the facility, Lisa worked frantically to free the children. Sekra helped, explaining the cell controls and security systems. Other children too, Lisa decided. We take them all. As they led the children toward the exit, fighting broke out in the corridors. Steve and Kate were holding off Zorvan security forces. Explosions shook the mountain fortress. "Lisa!" Steve called through comms. More ships incoming. The human fleet is engaging, but we need to move now. Lisa looked at the mass of freed children, human and alien alike. Some could barely walk. Others were crying for parents who weren't there. Kate, get the human children to the ships, Lisa ordered. Rachel, help organize the others. I'm going deeper. What? Why? Rachel asked, confusion on her face. Because I heard more children down there, Lisa said, pointing to deeper levels. This isn't just about my kids anymore. Without waiting for argument, Lisa ran toward the lower levels of the facility. She had entered this mission to save her own children. But something had changed. The galaxy accepted child slavery as normal practice. That had to end. The hunt had become something bigger than Lisa ever imagined. She was no longer just a mother seeking her children. She had become a symbol of human defiance against a cruel galaxy. The war for the children had begun.